and there was this opposition alliance, HH and everybody in opposition were gathered. I stood up and I said, my elder brother, the line you are taking is hypocritical. You were Minister of Justice a few weeks ago. You can't flip today and start admonishing PF over the Constitution when you were Minister of Justice and said it was lost. So shut up in this meeting. And luckily, Venerable Mwanga stood up to try and say, no, we need to discuss because it was part of those where whatever. That kind of politics should never be tolerated. I am forced to go that far because the level of hypocrisy in Zambia generally is pathetic. It's pathetic in the sense that it looks like those who are inclined to tell the truth are condemned compared to those who tell lies. Okay? When you say President Lungu became Minister of Justice, what did he say? I'm Minister of Justice now. That so-called bill was never lost. For as long as I am kept as Minister of Justice, this bill will see the light of day in Parliament. Things happened. He ended up becoming president. Do you know what President Lungu did on the day of inauguration? He appointed Dr. Sipiakula as Minister of Justice and gave him a mandate that I'm appointing you to fulfill my pledge that that bill must see the light of day in Parliament. Fast forward, opposition began to engage and agitate, thinking that there must have been some motive around the amendment of the Constitution. We met President Lungu with Nevas Mumba and other people to talk about this bill. President Lungu said, please, don't involve me. There will be no white paper. This bill from the technical committee, deal with it and go to Parliament having. If you think I'll be like other presidents who are afraid of 50+1, I'm not one of them. If I'm not going to win in 2026, so be it, but give the people of Zambia an opportunity to give themselves a constitution that they so desire. I have read this document. It may have lacunas and so on, but I am not a people of Zambia. I am just but one among the citizens. I am privileged to be president, but take it as it is.
The Constitution is one of the
on that basis, on that basis, I immediately developed respect for that man.
The Constitution is one of the most important things.
It's a legacy issue for President Edgar Chagwa. Even Bill 10, if people paid attention, ask Sean Tembo and other people who were with at ZCID as board members. When the issue of amendment or refining the Constitution came up, Minister of Justice, Given Lubinda, was going around the country and they had come up with a report and so on. We made an appointment meeting leaders of political parties with representation in Parliament. We ended up meeting President Lungu and we refused to follow him at State House. We said we should meet you at Secretariat, and we did. UPND was part of it. Yeah. When we met there, we told President Lungu, we will not allow you as government to pursue this the amendment of the Constitution as government in the manner you're proceeding. Can you suspend those activities? President Lungu turned to Minister of Justice, Given Lubinda. Have you heard what I've said? These are critical stakeholders. Suspend that, and we give you the freedom to drive this agenda. And I can tell you, from that perspective, President Lungu, up to today, whether it was Kaunda, Chiluba, Mwanawasa, Lupia Banda, Michael Sata, including now the attempt to bulldoze the Zambian people into a constitution that favors UPND, Edgar Chagwa is exceptional because he wanted the will of the people to prevail, even over Bill 10.
What is the future? What does the future of the Patriotic Front look like? I mean, there are a lot of curious questions out there. That did President Lungu appoint or coach someone to take over from him as president?
First of all, President Lungu, his philosophy was never around having a leader handpicked. He said to all of us, including those of us who worked with him, on a daily basis. He believed that leadership comes from God. He also believed that a leader emerges by the responsibility and the works they undertake in their service to the people. President Lungu never appointed or endorsed anybody for presidency. He, yes, may have talked good of individuals, including myself. That's how come possibly I was privileged to have been appointed Secretary General. But I cannot sit here and start claiming that President Lungu endorsed me for presidency, because he kept on saying to all of us, Ngauli Ntungurushi, if you are a leader, it will show.
Yes.
And the future of PF, based on your question.
There's a report from SABC, it should be one or two, I was watching it, when President Edgar Lungu died. The reporters say that you as the Patriotic Front had conversations with the Zambia we want. KBF's political party, Zambia must prosper. And that there were intentions for the Patriotic Front to feud in the Zambia we want, the Zambia must prosper in the 2026 general elections, because of the fact that you're having it back and forth in the Patriotic Front. Would you confirm that these were conversations that we were having with KBF while its President Edgar Lungu was alive?
I don't know why you want to reduce me into discussing silly things. I'm telling you.
I've given you a background that when President Edgar Lungu died, the people in South Africa.
Which people are you talking? Don't
from SABC. From SABC.
Which SABC are you talking
SABIC, the channel in South Africa. Were given a report on the death of President Lungu. One of the things that they mentioned was that during his time, as he was alive in South Africa, they were having conversations with KBF and the party. For you as a Patriotic Front to use his party as a special purpose vehicle into the 2026 elections. And I think after that, there were conversations now with people that probably President Edgar Lungu could have endorsed KBF. Would you confirm if this is true?
I want you to look in my eyes and possibly examine people. I am on terra firma and in situ as Secretary General appointed by President Edgar Chagwa Lungu for Patriotic Front, later on for Tonse. There was no conversation whatsoever. President Lungu was not driven by emotions. He was a very procedural person. There were attempts to try and abuse his name here and there. But I know for a fact that President Lungu was very sensitive and usually got upset. It's just that he was not a loud person whenever people attempted to abuse his name. Listen to me, don't curtail me. There is nobody who can claim under the sun that President Lungu went to them and said, you are my preferred candidate. I would have known. Whether it is plan B and any intricates around the discussion for leadership, President Lungu was not a fraudster. He was not a deceiver. He was not a trickster. He was an honorable man who shared, including his health condition, to those who was comfortable to talk to openly. So I'm telling you, the only thing President Lungu said, whether it was in 2021 when he went for sabbatical leave, was that the process to identify a leader should be transparent, should be open, should have the legitimacy of the Zambian people and the Patriotic Front. So if there's anybody within Patriotic Front and outside who are seeking to try and manipulate and deceive Zambians that were endorsed, they are wasting their time. If you have it, you are a leader seeking to serve the Zambian people genuinely. The Zambian people will identify you, the Patriotic Front members will identify you, and the Tonse Alliance will identify you. There will be no fraud.